Remember those tire recalls? Chernobyl? Deliberate and malevolent actions taken by corporations to protect their vital interests. Nothing happens by chance.
So everything we're seeing now is a distraction, all of it. Getting us to have an internal war with our consciousness, thinking we're never good enough, that our body isn't perfect, that we're not perfect, a war with each other, with different races, with different ways of thinking, with different ways of being. All these wars on everything, including the physical one, which could get even worse, is by design. And that's to keep us on one thing. We'll show you in a second. But first, let's remember about time itself and what Jason Breshears has been revealing.
To the Western world, calendars are timekeeping systems that start some date in the past and they count forward to our present day to give us a number for how many years has passed since that calendar started. That's not how the Native American calendar prophecies work. They saw these as countdowns to a future event where the exact same thing would happen all over again.
See, the thing of it is, nothing is linear. It's all cyclical, right? Even the time that we have isn't so straightforward. Doing things and creating things, it's not such a straight line. The whole idea of things going in a straight line is one of control. So you don't look a little bit further and go, okay, if it's cyclical, then what does that mean? It means there's cycles, there's repeated patterns. When it's a straight line, you're not only less likely to look for them, but you think, oh, well, that's just a coincidence. When it's cyclical, you know it's inherent in time itself. That's a big difference. I found this great example with Mark Moss, basically talking about the current war setup that we're in and how it compares to the past and how the cycles are repeating, including the people involved, or at least the companies. And it's pretty eye-opening. Check it out.
Everyday Americans didn't want a war overseas. They didn't want the taxes. They didn't want to send their fathers, their sons, their brothers to go die overseas. So that was a problem. He took control of Harper Brothers Publishing House, Pierpont Morgan, New York Sun, Boston News Bureau, Barron's Magazine, of course, the Wall Street Journal, for starters. So media outlets start sounding off, the alarm starts sounding off on this patriotic duty of all Americans to defend, quote, world democracy. That's what they said back then. Sound familiar? And all across the nation, there was massive preparedness demonstrations, there was parades being organized, and so the stage was set with kindling, ready to burn. All that was needed was a spark. Now, the profits that the Wall Street banks made from these war loans, they were enormous, right? And they began before the war even started. Now, a key finding of the Nye Committee was that J.P. Morgan and other Wall Street financiers gave money to England, France, Russia, and Germany during World War I. They profited by playing both sides when their bets started going bad. Now, they were bailed out with the blood of American service members.
So the repetition is take over the media, done. And then you continue to have ongoing unanimous support across the board for Ukraine. Now, I don't care what side of the fence you're on, when everybody unanimously agrees, that's fishy. Because with real journalism, you're gonna have people who disagree. And in the process, it's gonna flesh some things out. But what happens to those people that disagree right now? Well, let's just say their story might get a little buried. Obviously, we have unanimous support, and as Mark Moss points out, what do you need next after that? The ground laid for a tinder box moment that just sets it all on fire. So that's what we're waiting for next. And it's got to be big enough. It's got to be good enough. Remember, problem, reaction, solution, right? This has to be big. So big that those that are on the fence automatically aren't anymore. And the prediction is the fear is going to be there, and they'll just so happen to have all the reaction already written up into a 2,000-page document as to be read and passed in a matter of hours, where nobody can read anything. And this is the action they'll take. They do this in the way, much like when you have medicine you want to give your dog. You slip it in with some bread, a treat, and it goes down quite easily. All this, of course, is still a distraction. And what is a distraction from? Well, remember, this is a spiritual war. Okay, so here it is.
Christ consciousness is a unity consciousness. It's becoming self-aware that we're part of a universal system, which is why the second coming of Christ doesn't need to be a man coming back to earth. It could be humanity reaching the teachings that Christ was trying to share.
Christ consciousness. Now, Already some of you probably triggered. The English language, words in general, are unable to actually define in any way this idea of Christ consciousness. But I think at this point in time, most of you get the idea of what I mean without getting triggered and without lumping me into a particular religion, because I believe that Christ consciousness transcends religious boundaries. And the ongoing way we are divided is by us seeing differences instead of all the similarities. Religion is definitely one of those points that keeps us separated when it actually should be doing just the opposite. In fact, most things are upside down. Our truth is within us. And once we go there, then our eyes will be open to the messages left behind. Before we start to kind of awaken even slightly in consciousness, we won't see those messages. They could be right in front of us and we would be blind to them. So much so that if we were given free energy and all the wealth we needed to live, and we still were in this lower consciousness, we would slowly get back to the same place we are right now, where a few are controlling the many. So the real revolution is obviously within our consciousness and understanding our true nature and who we really are. When we do that, further truths are revealed that we didn't have eyes to see, the consciousness to see. And then that's when we're able to help others do the same. I truly believe that we're here to basically reach a higher level of consciousness, and the powers that be that currently control a majority of the planet, they're here to prevent us from doing that at all costs. And that's what all the distractions are about, to prevent us from getting to the next level. Because once we do, there's nothing they can do. Nothing at all. And that's already true. We just don't know it yet. Now, there's some who believe the outcome is already set, that we've already won, and that those evildoers, so to speak, are basically delaying the inevitable. And then there's others who believe that there are separate timelines, that the choices you make decide which timeline you're basically on. Obviously, what you believe in is up to you. I believe what we do now, the choices that we make, and the direction we go individually, has meaning and influences the collective. We need now to be true to our spirit, regardless on what happens next, regardless on if it's already done or not. You're much better off being true to your spirit and helping others do the same. So if you found this video helpful, be sure to give it a like. Thanks a lot for watching, and I'll see you next time. I don't know if you've seen it, but there's some weird stuff going on for March. I was hoping to be in Northern California already, but 3 storms later, I'm not touching the state. And now, I don't know if you've seen it, but the Schumann resonance gone off the chart. Some people are claiming an earthquake coming from solar flares and also from the moon itself, bouncing energy that came from the earth back to the earth. All the tides, everything, kind of coming into this synchronistic moment. Now, California has always been known to be on that fault line. I don't think it's ready to go in the ocean just yet, but I do believe that, in fact, that Schumann resonance is reflecting something worldwide. But that's just me.